would tell myself is learn intervals. Okay, stuff like that. Because when you hear this, you know what that interval is. That interval. That interval. That interval. That interval. And it goes on, you know. So when you hear that in a metal song, you know the guy's doing that. Doesn't matter if he's doing it here. It won't matter where he does it. You know the interval. You know the sound, right? And that will develop your ear. And then, of course, chords. Start there, you know. And you can do all this on day one, okay? And I'll do like the intervals. I'll do I want to do that as a separate video. And I'm trying to plan out how I'm going to do my guitar lessons. I need a whiteboard. I need a whiteboard. Once I have the whiteboard, I'll do the guitar. But the thing is there's so many channels that do music theory for beginners, right? If you know, and you can get all that information for free. The best would be to go to a actual guitar teacher. You know, plan out a couple of lessons to get you going, right? But if you start with the theory right away, I mean, you're going to hear this quite a bit, unfortunately, is you're going to hear people say, I don't want to learn music theory because I don't want to be caged in a box and with all these rules, and I don't want to sound like everybody else. Well, newsflash, that's the most ignorant statement ever. Because number one, you do sound like everybody else. Why? Because you're a self-taught guitar player that has no theory. You know, like, you don't have to become a master in theory, but you have to know enough to be able to visualize the fretboard. That's the other thing. Know every note. Like, what is this note? What is this note? What is this note? What is that note? What is that note? It's that note, that note. You shouldn't have to think about it. You know what I mean? You shouldn't have to think about it. You should know it. So learn the notations on your fingerboard, and if it's a bass, the same thing. If it's a violin, the fingering, the mandolin, same thing. Piano, same thing. It's all the same theory. That's a thing. It might be in different key signatures or whatever, but it's all the same theory, right? And the thing is it's not as hard as you think it is. Again, you could probably pick up enough theory in about 1 or 2 nights on YouTube of just going through basic theory. You might not understand it fully, but you'll have that much more knowledge to build on. And the stuff that gets people is intervals, harmonic, melodic, stuff like that, major, minor. The modes, don't worry about until you understand intervals, there's really no point worrying about the modes. As far as understanding every scale, if you added it all up, there's probably about 168 scales all in. If you add them all up, there might be more, But the thing is you don't need to know all that. Like, you don't need to memorize all that. It doesn't really serve a purpose in songwriting to memorize every single scale. But what does help is the formula of the scale to make something major, minor, melodic, or harmonic. Often we're talking a one note difference between one and the next. But it sounds really confusing at first because you haven't, you don't know what you don't know. But if you get all your basic chords down, like A, B, C, E, we'll go E flat, E, F, G, okay? Then you can add on, these are going to be your most common chords, right? And then you can get the A minor, D minor, B minor. A really nice one is C sharp minor. Love that one. F sharp major. F sharp minor. Yeah. G minor. You know that. So just learn those basic chords for now, and everything you do here, 12 frets up, you're doing the same thing again. So E here, E, E, and try to find there's usually 5 spots per chord, right, on a typical neck. Sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less, but try to find, like, get all the basic ones, the chords down, and then try to find those chords. E is the easiest one, so open E, all your Metallica stuff, then your Judas Priest stuff, still an E, you know, so try to find all those octaves and whatever. All the same chord. Why? And I don't have to think about it. I know what it all is, because it's the, you do the same with the A. It's the same chord, so I can just go. Just a different voicing of the same chord. So I could change that chord around a bit, just because I could change the interval within that chord, right? It's all the same. It's all the same. It's not that hard. But how do you make it easy? Well, visualize a fretboard. Learn your intervals. Understand the circle of fifths. The circle of fourths is just the reverse. And what the circle of fifths will do is it'll tell you what the relative keys are. So that'll help you with songwriting. And get to the songwriting right away. If today's day one of your guitar playing and the only thing you learned is an E chord, just because it's easiest to play 2 fingers, or an A chord, and that's the only thing you can do, what I want you to work on is your timing. That's a big one. If you got a metronome, play along to the metronome. And if it's a little kid, tell them to sing you a song like that. If it's a little kid and you can't get them to concentrate, just let them thrash on the guitar and tell them to sing you a song. Because they'll make it fun. Get them singing, you know, whatever. Yeah, it might be a little bit annoying for you, but in no time, the idea is to keep them interested in the guitar. For older people, you know, it just, you know, like, sing along with it. Just do that. The idea is just to get used to doing both, being as rhythmic as possible, and then you can add in things later on. You know, really easy stuff, right? The other thing is work on technique, right? You know, having your thumb in the right place, holding your pick the right way. And holding your pick the right way is, when you're learning, that's so far the best. Like, if you're playing like this, I can't play like that anymore. I played like that for years. Only about 2 or maybe 3 years ago that I started playing like this, and it's so much better. Hands way more relaxed. You can get more speed. Guitar. I got the neck on this is starting to get pretty bad. Ugh, kills me. Yeah. So start with just the basic music theory. You'll find it all over YouTube. And even if you just take a lesson a night, you know, and go over it, if it doesn't sink in, you know, maybe once a week, just add a guitar lesson, you know, if whatever you have time for, you know. If you try to take it all in one night, you're just not going to take it all in. But you'll start getting the idea of the lingo. But the big one is visualize the fretboard, understand the circle of fourths and fifths. Same thing, just one goes circle of fifths, circle of fourths, right? So you're going up the scale, you're going down the scale. Understand how that works, and understand your intervals right from the get-go. It will, I know not everybody would recommend going to the intervals right away, but visualize the fretboard. So E, E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D. You know what I mean? Just work your way up, understanding the, you know, the fretboard, every note on the fretboard and on every string. It'll take you a little while, but once you get through the patterns, remember there's only 7 notes and then flats and sharps, right? So if you can go A to G, you pretty much understand everything's going to be A to G, right? So chord like the triads and stuff like that, and how a triad that's again, I'm talking at the like day one, what you should start to learn on day one, kind of thing. The triads, I'd make that more like day 2, like understanding the forming of a chord. But day 1, just learn the notes on it, look at your relative keys, and like because the circle of fourths and fifths is pretty much 99% of the music theory all in one spot. That's the cool part about it. And then after that, cadences. I talked about that in the previous video. Cadences